You are listening to an audiobook of selections from poems by Currer, Ellis and Acton Bell, who are actually Charlotte, Emily and Anne Brontë. This was the Brontes' first book, published at the Brontes' own expense in 1846. This audiobook is part of our English at Leeds Trinity audiobook series. All the recordings were made by staff and students studying English at Leeds Trinity University.
A Reminiscence by Acton Bell. Yes, thou art gone, and nevermore thy sunny smile shall gladden me. But I may pass the old church door, and pace the floor that covers thee, may stand upon the cold, damp stone, and think that, frozen, lies below, the lightest heart that I have known, the kindest I shall ever know. Yet, though I cannot see thee more, 'tis still a comfort to have seen, and though thy transient life is o'er, 'tis sweet to think that thou hast been, to think a soul so near divine, within a form so angel fair, united to a heart like thine, has gladdened once our humble sphere.
The Arbour. I'll rest me in this sheltered bower, and look upon the clear blue sky, that smiles upon me through the trees, which stand so thickly clustering by, and view their green and glossy leaves, all glistening in the sunshine fair, and list the rustling of their boughs, so softly whispering through the air. And while my ear drinks in the sound, my winged soul shall fly away, reviewing long departed years, as one mild beaming autumn day, and soaring on to future scenes, like hills and woods and valleys green, all basking in the summer's sun, but distant still and dimly seen. O list to summer's very breath, that gently shakes the rustling trees. But look, the snow is on the ground, how can I think of scenes like these? 'Tis but the frost that clears the air, and gives the sky that lovely blue. They're smiling in a winter's sun, those evergreens of sombre hue. And winter's chill is on my heart, how can I dream of future bliss? How can my spirit soar away, confined by such a chain as this? Home. How brightly glistening in the sun the woodland ivy plays, while yonder beeches from their barks reflect his silver rays. That sun surveys a lovely scene from softly smiling skies, and wildly through unnumbered trees the wind of winter sighs. Now loud it thunders over my head, and now in distance dies. But give me back my barren hills, where colder breezes rise, where scarce the scattered stunted trees can yield an answering swell, but where a wilderness of heath returns the sound as well. For yonder garden fair and wide, with groves of evergreen, long winding walks and borders trim, and velvet lawns between. Restore to me that little spot, with grey walls compassed round, where knotted grass neglected lies, and weeds usurp the ground. Though all around this mansion high invites the foot to roam, and though its halls are fair within, O give me back my home.
Vanitas vanitatum omnia vanitas. In all we do and hear and see, in restless toil and vanity, while yet the rolling earth abides, men come and go like ocean tides.
And ere one generation dies, another in its place shall rise, that sinking soon into the grave, others succeed like wave on wave.
And as they rise, they pass away. The sun arises every day, and hastening onward to the west, he nightly sinks, but not to rest.
Returning to the eastern skies, again to light us he must rise. And still the restless wind comes forth, now blowing keenly from the north,
now from the south, the east, the west, for ever changing, ne'er at rest. The fountains gushing from the hills supply the ever-running rills.
The thirsty rivers drink their store and bear it rolling to the shore, but still the ocean craves for more. 'Tis endless labour everywhere, sound cannot satisfy the ear.
Light cannot fill the craving eye, nor riches half our wants supply. Pleasure but doubles future pain, and joy brings sorrow in her train.
Laughter is mad and reckless mirth, what does she in this weary earth? Should wealth or fame our life employ, death comes our labour to destroy.
To snatch the untasted cup away, for which we toiled so many a day. What then remains for wretched man? To use life's comforts while he can.
Enjoy the blessings heaven bestows, assists his friends, forgives his foes. Trust God and keep his statutes still, upright and firm through good and ill.
Thankful for all that God has given, fixing his firmest hopes on heaven, knowing that earthly joys decay, but hoping through the darkest day.
The Penitent by Acton Bell. I mourn with thee, and yet rejoice, that thou should sorrow so. With angels' choir I join my voice, to bless the sinner's woe. Though friends and kindred turn away, and laugh thy grief to scorn, I hear the great Redeemer say, Blessed are ye that mourn. Hold on thy course, nor deem it strange, the earthly chords are riven. Man may lament the wondrous change, but there is joy in heaven. Music on Christmas Morning by Acton Bell. Music I love, but never strain, could kindle raptures so divine, so grief assuage, so conquer pain, and rouse this pensive heart of mine, as that we hear on Christmas morn, upon the wintry breezes borne. Thou darkness still her empire keep, and hours must pass ere morning break. From troubled dreams or slumbers deep, that music kindly bids us wake. It calls us with an angel's voice, to wake and worship and rejoice. To greet with joy the glorious morn, which angels welcomed long ago, when our redeeming Lord was born, to bring the light of heaven below, the powers of darkness to dispel, and rescue earth from death and hell. While listening to that sacred strain, my raptured spirit soars on high. I seem to hear those songs again, resounding through the open sky, that kindled such divine delight in those who watch their flocks by night. With them I celebrate his birth, glory to God in highest heaven, goodwill to men and peace on earth. To us a Saviour King is given. Our God is come to claim his own, and Satan's power is overthrown. A sinless God for sinful men, descends to suffer and to bleed. Hell must renounce its empire then, the price is paid, the world is freed. And Satan's self must now confess that Christ has earned a right to bless. Now holy peace may smile from heaven, and heavenly truth from earth shall spring. The captive's galling bonds are riven, for our Redeemer is our King. And he that gave his blood for men will lead us home to God again. If This Be All by Acton Bell. O God, if this indeed be all that life can show to me, if on my aching brow may fall no refreshing dew from thee, if with no brighter light than this the lamp of hope may glow, and I may only dream of bliss and wake to weary woe, if friendship's solace must decay when other joys are gone, and love must keep so far away while I go wandering on, wandering and toiling without gain, the slaves of others' will, with constant care and frequent pain, despised, forgotten still. Grieving to look on vice and sin, yet powerless to quell the silent current from within, the outward torrents swell. While all the good I would impart, the feelings I would share, are driven backward to my heart, and turned to wormwood there. If clouds must ever keep from sight the glories of the sun, and I must suffer winter's blight ere summer is begun, if life must be so full of care, then call me soon to thee, or give me strength enough to bear my load of misery.
To Cooper by Acton Bell. Sweet are thy strains, celestial bard, and oft in childhood years I've read them o'er and o'er again, with floods of silent tears. The language of my inmost heart I traced in every line. My sins, my sorrows, hopes and fears were there, and only mine. All for myself the sigh would swell, the tear of anguish start. I little knew what wilder woe had filled the poet's heart. I did not know the nights of gloom, the days of misery, the long, long years of dark despair that crushed and tortured thee. But they are gone, from earth at length thy gentle soul is past, and in the bosom of its God has found its home at last. It must be so, if God is love, and answers fervent prayer, then surely thou shalt dwell on high, and I may meet me there. Is he the source of every good, the spring of purity? Then in thine hours of deepest woe, thy God was still with thee. How else, when every hope was fled, couldst thou so fondly cling to holy things and holy men, and how so sweetly sing of things that God alone could teach? And whence that purity, that hatred of all sinful ways, that gentle charity? Are these the symptoms of a heart of heavenly grace bereft, forever banished from its God, to Satan's fury left? Yet should thy darkest fears be true, if heaven be so severe, that such a soul as thine is lost, oh, how shall I appear?
A Word to the Elect by Acton Bell. You may rejoice to think yourselves secure. You may be grateful for the gift divine, that grace unsought which made your black hearts pure, and fits your earth-born souls in heaven to shine. But is it sweet to look around and view thousands excluded from that happiness which they deserved, at least as much as you, their faults not greater nor their virtues less? And wherefore should you love your God the more? Because to you alone his smiles are given, because he chose to pass the many o'er, and only bring the favoured few to heaven? And wherefore should your hearts more grateful prove, because for all the Saviour did not die? Is yours the God of justice and of love, and are your bosoms warm with charity? Say, does your heart expand to all mankind? And would you ever to your neighbour do, the weak, the strong, the enlightened, and the blind, as you would have your neighbour do to you? And when you, looking on your fellow men, behold them doomed to endless misery, how can you talk of joy and rapture then? May God withhold such cruel joy from me. That none deserve eternal bliss, I know, unmerited the grace in mercy given. But none shall sink to everlasting woe that have not well deserved the wrath of heaven. And oh, there lives within my heart a hope long nursed by me, and should its cheering ray depart, how dark my soul would be. That as in Adam all have died, in Christ shall all men live, and ever round his throne abide, eternal praise to give. That even the wicked shall at last be fitted for the skies, and when their dreadful doom is past, to life and light arise. I ask not how remote the day, nor what the sinner's woe, before their dross is purged away. Enough for me to know that when the cup of wrath is drained, the metal purified, they'll cling to what they once disdained, and live by him that died. The Consolation by Acton Bell. Though bleak these woods, and damp the ground with fallen leaves so thickly strown, and cold the wind that wanders round with wild and melancholy moan, There is a friendly roof, I know, might shield me from the wintry blast. There is a fire whose ruddy glow will cheer me for my wanderings past. And so, though still where'er I go, cold stranger glances meet my eye, though, when my spirit sinks in woe, unheeded swells the unbidden sigh. Though solitude, endured too long, bids youthful joys too soon decay, makes mirth a stranger to my tongue, and overclouds my noon of day. When kindly thoughts that would have way flow back discouraged to my breast, I know there is, though far away, a home where heart and soul may rest. Warm hands are there that, clasped in mine, the warmer heart will not belie, while mirth and truth and friendship shine in smiling lip and earnest eye. The ice that gathers round my heart may there be thawed, and sweetly then the joys of youth that now depart will come to cheer my soul again. Though far I roam, that thought shall be my hope, my comfort, everywhere. While such a home remains to me, my heart shall never know despair. The Student's Serenade by Acton Bell. I have slept upon my couch, but my spirit did not rest, for the labours of the day, yet my weary soul oppressed. And before my dreaming eyes still the learned volumes lay, and I could not close their leaves, and I could not turn away. But I oped my eyes at last, and I heard a muffled sound. 'Twas the night breeze, come to say that the snow was on the ground. Then I knew that there was rest on the mountain's bosom free. So I left my fevered couch, and I flew to waken thee. I have flown to waken thee, for if thou wilt not arise, then my soul can drink no peace from these holy moonlit skies. And this waste of virgin snow to my sight will not be fair, unless thou wilt smiling come, love, to wander with me there. Then awake, Maria, awake, for if thou couldst only know how the quiet moonlight sleeps on this wilderness of snow, and the groves of ancient trees in their snowy garb arrayed, till they stretch into the gloom of the distant valley's shade. I know thou wouldst rejoice to inhale this bracing air, thou wouldst break thy sweetest sleep to behold a scene so fair. O'er these wintry wilds alone thou wouldst joy to wander free, and it will not please thee less, though that bliss be shared with me.
Poor restless dove, I pity thee, and when I hear thy plaintive moan, I mourn for thy captivity, and in thy woes forget mine own. To see thee stand prepared to fly, and flap those useless wings of thine, and gaze into the distant sky, would melt a harder heart than mine. In vain, thou canst not rise, thy prison roof confines thee there. Its slender wires delude thine eyes, and quench thy longings with despair. Oh, thou wert made to wander free, in sunny mead and shady grove, and, far beyond the rolling sea, in distant climes at will to rove. Yet hadst thou but one gentle mate, thy little drooping heart to cheer, and share with thee thy captive state, thou couldst be happy even there. Yes, even there, if, listening by, one faithful dear companion stood, while gazing on her full bright eye, thou mightst forget thy native wood. But thou, poor solitary dove, must make unheard thy joyless moan. The heart that nature formed to love must pine, neglected and alone.
Self-Congratulation by Acton Bell. Ellen, you were thoughtless once of beauty or of grace, simple and homely in attire, careless of form and face. Then whence this change, and wherefore now so often smooth your hair? And wherefore deck your youthful form with such unwearied care? Tell us, and cease to tire our ears with that familiar strain. Why will you play those simple tunes so often or again?
Indeed, dear friends, I can but say that childhood's thoughts are gone. Each year its own new feelings brings, and years move swiftly on. And for these little simple airs, I love to play them, oh, so much I dare not promise now to play them nevermore. I answered, and it was enough. They turned them to depart. They could not read my secret thoughts, nor see my throbbing heart. I've noticed many a youthful form, upon whose changeful face the inmost workings of the soul the gazer well might trace. The speaking eye, the changing lip, the ready blushing cheek, the smiling or beclouded brow, their different feelings speak. But thank God, you might gaze on mine for hours, and never know the secret changes of my soul from joy to keenest woe. Last night, as we sat round the fire, conversing merrily, we heard, without, approaching steps of one well known to me. There was no trembling in my voice, no blush upon my cheek, no lustrous sparkle in my eyes, of hope or joy to speak. But oh, my spirit burned within, my heart beat full and fast. He came not nigh, he went away, and then my joy was past. And yet my comrades marked it not, my voice was still the same. They saw me smile, and over my face no signs of sadness came. They little knew my hidden thoughts, and they will never know the aching anguish of my heart, the bitter burning woe.
Fluctuations by Acton Bell. What though the sun had left my sky? To save me from despair, the blessed moon arose on high, and shone serenely there. I watched her, with a tearful gaze, rise slowly o'er the hill, while through the dim horizon's haze her light gleamed faint and chill. I thought such wan and lifeless beams could ne'er my heart repair, for the bright sun's most transient gleams that cheered me through the day. But as above that mist control, she rose and brighter shone. I felt her light upon my soul, but now that light is gone.
Thick vapours snatched her from my sight, and I was darkling left, all in the cold and gloomy night, of light and hope bereft. Until, methought, a little star shone forth with trembling ray, to cheer me with its light afar, but that too passed away.
Anon, an earthly meteor blazed the gloomy darkness through. I smiled, yet trembled while I gazed, but that soon vanished too, and darker, drearier fell the night upon my spirit then.
But what is that faint, struggling light? Is it the moon again? Kind heaven, increase that silvery gleam, and bid these clouds depart, and let her soft, celestial beam restore my fainting heart.
Faith and Despondency. The winter wind is loud and wild. Come close to me, my darling child. Forsake thy books and mateless play, and while the night is gathering grey, we'll talk its pensive hours away. Ierne, round our sheltered hall, November's gusts unheeded call. Not one faint breath can enter here, enough to wave my daughter's hair. And I am glad to watch the blaze glance from her eyes with mimic rays, to feel her cheek so softly pressed in happy quiet on my breast. But yet, even this tranquillity brings bitter, restless thoughts to me, and in the red fire's cheerful glow I think of deep glens blocked with snow. I dream of moor and misty hill, where evening closes dark and chill. For lone among the mountains cold lie those that I have loved of old, and my heart aches in hopeless pain, exhausted with repinings vain, that I shall greet them ne'er again.
Father, in early infancy, when you were far beyond the sea, such thoughts were tyrants over me. I often sat for hours together, through the long nights of angry weather, raised on my pillow to descry the dim moon struggling in the sky, or with strained ear to catch the shock of rock with wave and wave with rock. So would I fearful vigil keep, and all for listening never sleep. But this world's life has much to dread, not so my Father with the dead. Oh, not for them should we despair, the grave is drear, but they are not there. Their dust is mingled with the sod, their happy souls are gone to God. You told me this, and yet you sigh, and murmur that your friends must die. Ah, my dear Father, tell me why, for if your former words were true, how useless would such sorrow be? As wise to mourn the seed which grew, unnoticed on its parent's tree, because it fell in fertile earth, and sprang up to a glorious birth, struck deep its root, and lifted high its green boughs in the breezy sky. But I'll not fear, I will not weep, for those whose bodies rest in sleep. I know there is a blessed shore, opening its ports for me and mine, and gazing time's wide waters o'er, I weary for the land divine, where we were born, where you and I shall meet our dearest when we die, from suffering and corruption free, restored into the deity.
Well hast thou spoken, sweet trustful child, and wiser than thy sire, and worldly tempests raging wild shall strengthen thy desire. Thy fervent hope, through storm and foam, through wind and ocean's roar, to reach at last the eternal home, the steadfast, changeless shore.
Stars by Ellis Bell. Ah, why, because the dazzling sun restored our earth to joy, have you departed, every one, and left the desert sky? All through the night your glorious eyes were gazing down in mine, and with a full heart's thankful sighs I blessed that watch divine. I was at peace and drank your beams as they were life to me, and revelled in my changeful dreams like petrel on the sea. Thought followed thought, star followed star, through boundless regions on, while one sweet influence, near and far, thrilled through and proved us one. Why did the morning dawn to break so great, so pure a spell, and scorch with fire the tranquil cheek where your cool radiance fell? My lids closed down, yet through their veil I saw him blazing still, and steep in gold the misty dale, and flash upon the hill. I turned me to the pillow then, to call back night and see your worlds of solemn light again throb with my heart and me. It would not do. The pillow glowed and glowed both roof and floor, and birds sang loudly in the wood, and fresh winds shook the door. The curtains waved, the wakened flies were murmuring round my room, imprisoned there till I should rise and give them leave to roam. Oh, stars and dreams and gentle night, oh, night and stars, return, and hide me from the hostile light that does not warm but burn, that drains the blood of suffering men, drinks tears instead of dew. Let me sleep through his blinding rain, and only wake with you.
Remembrance by Ellis Bell. Cold in the earth, and the deep snow piled above thee, far, far removed, cold in the dreary grave.
Have I forgot, my only love, to love thee, severed at last by time's all-severing wave? Now, when alone, do my thoughts no longer hover over the mountains on that northern shore, resting their wings where heath and fern leaves cover thy noble heart forever, evermore? Cold in the earth, and 15 wild Decembers from those brown hills have melted into spring. Faithful indeed is the spirit that remembers after such years of change and suffering. Sweet love of youth, forgive if I forget thee, while the world's tide is bearing me along. Other desires and other hopes beset me, hopes which obscure, but cannot do thee wrong. No later light has lightened up my heaven, no second morn has ever shone for me. All my life's bliss from thy dear life was given, all my life's bliss is in the grave with thee. But when the days of golden dreams have perished, and even despair was powerless to destroy, then did I learn how existence could be cherished, strengthened, and fed without the aid of joy. Then did I check the tears of useless passion, weaned my young soul from yearning after thine, sternly denied its burning wish to hasten down to that tomb already more than mine. And even yet, I dare not let it languish, dare not indulge in memory's rapturous pain. Once drinking deep of that divinest anguish, how could I seek the empty world again?
A death scene. O day, he cannot die, when thou so fair art shining. O sun in such a glorious sky, so tranquilly declining. He cannot leave thee now, while fresh west winds are blowing, and all around his youthful brow thy cheerful light is glowing. Edward, awake, awake! The golden evening gleams, warm and bright on Arden's lake, arouse thee from thy dreams. Beside thee on my knee, my dearest friend, I pray, that thou to cross the eternal sea wouldst yet 1 hour delay. I hear its billows roar, I see them foaming high, but no glimpse of a further shore has blessed my straining eye. Believe not what they urge, of Eden isles beyond, turn back from that tempestuous surge to thy own native land. It is not death but pain that struggles in thy breast. Nay, rally, Edward, rouse again, I cannot let thee rest. One long look that sword reproved me for the woe I could not bear, one mute look of suffering moved me to repent my useless prayer. And with sudden check that heaving of distraction passed away. Not a sign of further grieving stirred my soul that awful day. Paled at length the sweet sun setting, sunk to peace the twilight breeze. Summer dews fell softly wetting glen and glade and silent trees. Then his eyes began to weary, weighed beneath a mortal sleep, and their orbs grew strangely dreary, clouded even as they would weep. But they wept not, but they changed not, never moved and never closed. Troubled still, and still they ranged not, wandered not, nor yet reposed. Though I knew that he was dying, stooped and raised his languid head, felt no breath and heard no sighing, so I knew that he was dead.
Song. The linnet in the rocky dells, the moor lark in the air, the bee among the heather bells that hide my lady fair.
The wild deer browse above her breast, the wild birds raise their brood, and they her smiles of love caressed have left her solitude.
I ween that when the grave's dark wall did first her form retain, they thought their hearts could ne'er recall the light of joy again.
They thought the tide of grief would flow unchecked through future years. But where is all their anguish now, and where are all their tears?
Well, let them fight for honour's breath, or pleasure's shade pursue. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too.
And if their eyes should watch and weep till sorrow's source were dry, she would not in her tranquil sleep return a single sigh.
Blow, west wind, by the lonely mound, and murmur summer streams. There is no need of other sound to soothe my lady's dreams.
Anticipation by Ellis Bell. How beautiful the earth is still, to thee, how full of happiness. how little fraught with real ill, or unreal phantoms of distress. How spring can bring thee glory yet, and summer win thee to forget December's sullen time. Why dost thou hold the treasure fast of youth's delight when youth is past, and thou art near thy prime? When those who were thy own compeers, equals in fortune and in years, have seen their morning melt in tears to clouded smileless day. Blessed had they died, untried and young, before their hearts went wandering wrong, poor slaves subdued by passion strong, a weak and helpless prey. Because I hoped while they enjoyed, and, by fulfilment hope destroyed, as children hope with trustful breast, I waited bliss and cherished rest. A thoughtful spirit taught me soon that we must long till life be done, that every phase of earthly joy must always fade and always cloy. This I foresaw, and would not chase the fleeting treacheries, but with firm foot and tranquil face, held backward from that tempting race, gazed o'er the sands, the waves efface, to the enduring seas. There cast my anchor of desire, deep in unknown eternity, nor ever let my spirit tire, with looking for what is to be. It is hope's spell that glorifies, like youth to my maturer eyes, all nature's million mysteries, the fearful and the fair. Hope soothes me in the griefs I know. She lulls my pain for others' woe, and makes me strong to undergo what I am born to bear. Glad comforter, will I not brave, unawed the darkness of thy grave? Nay, smile to hear death's billows rave, sustained my guide by thee. The more unjust seems present fate, the more my spirit swells elate, strong in thy strength to anticipate rewarding destiny.
The Prisoner, a fragment by Ellis Bell. In the dungeon crypts idly did I stray, reckless of the lives wasting there away. Draw the ponderous bars, open, warder stern. He dared not say me nay, the hinges harshly turn. Our guests are darkly lodged, I whispered, gazing through the vault, whose grated eye showed heaven more grey than blue. This was when glad spring laughed in awaking pride. Ay, darkly lodged enough, returned my sullen guide. Then, God forgive my youth, forgive my careless tongue. I scoffed as the chill chains on the damp flagstones rung. Confined in triple walls, art thou so much to fear that we must bind thee down and clench thy fetters here? The captive raised her face. It was as soft and mild as sculptured marble saint or slumbering unweaned child. It was so soft and mild, it was so sweet and fair, pain could not trace a line, nor grief a shadow there. The captive raised her hand and pressed it to her brow. I have been struck, she said, and I am suffering now. Yet these are little worth, your bolts and iron strong, and, were they forged in steel, they could not hold me long. Hoarse laughed the jailer grim, shall I be one to hear? Thus think, fond dreaming wretch, that I shall grant thy prayer? Or better still, wilt melt my master's heart with groans? Ah, sooner might the sun thaw down these granite stones. My master's voice is low, his aspect bland and kind, but hard as hardest flint the soul that lurks behind. And I am rough and rude, yet not more rough to see than is the hidden ghost that has its home in me. About her lips there played a smile of almost scorn. My friend, she gently said, you have not heard me mourn. When you my kindred's lives, my lost life, can restore, then may I weep and sue, but never friend before. Still let my tyrants know I am not doomed to wear year after year in gloom and desolate despair. A messenger of hope comes every night to me, and offers for short life eternal liberty. He comes with western winds, with evening's wandering airs, with that clear dusk of heaven that brings the thickest stars. Winds take a pensive tone, and stars a tender fire, and visions rise and change that kill me with desire. Desire for nothing known in my maturer years, when joy grew mad with awe at counting future tears. When, if my spirit's sky was full of flashes warm, I knew not whence they came, from sun or thunderstorm. But first, a hush of peace, a soundless calm descends. The struggle of distress and fierce impatience ends. Mute music soothes my breast, unuttered harmony that I could never dream, till earth was lost to me. Then dawns the invisible. The unseen its truth reveals. My outward sense is gone, my inward essence feels. Its wings are almost free, its home, its harbour found. Measuring the gulf, it stoops and dares the final bound. Oh, dreadful is the check, intense the agony, when the ear begins to hear and the eye begins to see. When the pulse begins to throb, the brain to think again, the soul to feel the flesh, and the flesh to feel the chain. Yet I would lose no sting, would wish no torture less. The more that anguish racks, the earlier it will bless. And robed in fires of hell, or bright with heavenly shine, if it but herald death, the vision is divine. She ceased to speak, and we, unanswering, turned to go. We had no further power to work the captive woe. Her cheek, her gleaming eye, declared that man had given a sentence, unapproved and overruled by heaven.
Hope. Hope was but a timid friend. She sat without the grated den, watching how my fate would tend even the selfish-hearted men. She was cruel in her fear. Through the bars one dreary day, I looked out to see her there, and she turned her face away. Like a false guard, false watch-keeping, still in strife she whispered peace. She would sing while I was weeping. If I listened, she would cease. False she was, and unrelenting, when my last joys strewed the ground. Even sorrow saw, repenting, those sad relics scattered round. Hope, whose whisper would have given balm to all my frenzied pain, stretched her wings and soared to heaven, went, and ne'er returned again.
A Daydream. On a sunny brae, alone I lay, one summer afternoon. It was the marriage time of May, with her young lover June. From her mother's heart seemed loath to part, that queen of bridal charms, but her father smiled on the fairest child he ever held in his arms. The trees did wave their plumy crests, the glad birds carolled clear, and I, of all the wedding guests, was only sullen there. There was not one but wished to shun my aspect void of cheer. The very grey rocks, looking on, asked, "What do you do here?" And I could utter no reply. In sooth, I did not know why I had brought a clouded eye to greet the general glow. So resting on a heathy bank, I took my heart to me, and we together sadly sank into a reverie. We thought, when winter comes again, where will these bright things be? All vanished like a vision vain, an unreal mockery. The birds that now so blithely sing through deserts frozen dry, poor spectres of the perished spring, in famished troops will fly. And why should we be glad at all? The leaf is hardly green, before a token of its fall is on the surface seen. Now, whether it was really so, I never could be sure. But as in fit of peevish woe, I stretched me on the moor. 1,000 gleaming fires seemed kindling in the air. 1,000 silvery lyres resounded far and near. Methought the very breath I breathed was full of sparks divine, and all my heather couch was wreathed by that celestial shine. And while the wide earth echoing run to their strange minstrelsy, the little glittering spirits sung, or seemed to sing to me. O mortal, mortal, let them die. Let time and tears destroy, that we may overflow the sky with universal joy. Let grief distract the sufferer's breast, and night obscure his way. They hasten him to endless rest and everlasting day. To thee the world is like a tomb, a desert's naked shore. To us in unimagined bloom, it brightens more and more. And could we lift the veil and give one brief glimpse to thine eye, thou wouldst rejoice for those that live, because they live to die. The music ceased, the noonday dream, like dream of night withdrew. But fancy still will sometimes deem her fond creation true. To imagination. When weary with the long day's care, and earthly change from pain to pain, and lost and ready to despair, thy kind voice calls me back again. Oh, my true friend, I am not lone, while thou canst speak with such a tone. So hopeless is the world without, the world within I doubly prize. Thy world, where guile and hate and doubt and cold suspicion never rise, where thou and I and liberty have undisputed sovereignty. What matters it that all around danger and guilt and darkness lie, if but within our bosoms bound we hold a bright untroubled sky, warm with 10,000 mingled rays of suns that know no winter days. Reason indeed may oft complain for nature's sad reality, and tell the suffering heart how vain its cherished dreams must always be. And truth may rudely trample down the flowers of fancy newly blown, but thou art ever there to bring the hovering vision back and breathe new glories o'er the blighted spring, and call a lovelier life from death, and whisper with a voice divine of real worlds as bright as thine. I trust not to thy phantom bliss, yet still in evening's quiet hour, with never failing thankfulness, I welcome thee, benignant power, sure solacer of human cares, and sweeter hope when hope despairs.
How Clear She Shines by Ellis Bell. How clear she shines, how quietly I lie beneath her guardian light, while heaven and earth are whispering me, tomorrow wake but dream tonight. Yes, fancy, come my fairy love, these throbbing temples softly kiss, and bend my lonely couch above, and bring me rest and bring me bliss. The world is going, dark world, adieu. Grim world, conceal thee till the day. The heart thou canst not all subdue, must still resist if thou delay. Thy love I will not share, thy hatred only wakes a smile. Thy griefs may wound, thy wrongs may tear, but oh, thy lies shall ne'er beguile. While gazing on the stars that glow above me in that stormless sea, I long to hope that all the woe creation knows is held in thee. And this shall be my dream tonight. I'll think the heaven of glorious spheres is rolling on its course of light, in endless bliss through endless years. I'll think there's not one world above, far as these straining eyes can see, where wisdom ever laughed at love, or virtue crouched to infamy. Where writhing neath the strokes of fate, the mangled wretch was forced to smile, to match his patience against her hate, his heart rebellious all the while. While pleasure still will lead to wrong, and helpless reason warn in vain, And truth is weak, and treachery strong, and joy the surest path to pain, and peace the lethargy of grief, and hope a phantom of the soul, and life a labour void and brief, and death the despot of the whole.
Sympathy. There should be no despair for you, while nightly stars are burning, while evening pours its silent dew, and sunshine gilds the morning. There should be no despair, though tears may flow down like a river. Are not the best beloved of years around your heart forever?
They weep, you weep, it must be so. Winds sigh as you are sighing, and winter sheds his grief in snow, where autumn's leaves are lying. Yet these revive, and from their fate your fate cannot be parted. Then journey on, if not elate, still never broken-hearted.
Plead for Me by Ellis Bell. Oh, thy bright eyes must answer now, when reason with a scornful brow is mocking at my overthrow. Oh, thy sweet tongue must plead for me, and tell why I have chosen thee. Stern reason is to judgment come, arrayed in all her forms of gloom. Wilt thou, my advocate, be dumb? No, radiant angel, speak and say why I did cast the world away. Why I have persevered to shun the common paths that others run, and on a strange road journeyed on, heedless alike of wealth and power, of glory's wreath and pleasure's flower. These once indeed seemed beings divine, and they perchance heard vows of mine, and saw my offerings on their shrine. But careless gifts are seldom prized, and mine were worthily despised. So with a ready heart I swore to seek their altar, stone no more, and gave my spirit to adore thee ever, present, phantom, thing, my slave, my comrade, and my king. A slave because I rule thee still, incline thee to my changeful will, and make thy influence good or ill. A comrade, for by day and night thou art my intimate delight, my darling pain that wounds and sears and wrings a blessing out from tears by deadening me to earthly cares. And yet a king, though prudence well, have taught by subject to rebel. And am I wrong to worship where faith cannot doubt nor hope despair, since my own soul can grant my prayer? Speak, God of visions, plead for me, and tell why I have chosen thee.
Death by Ellis Bell. Death that struck when I was most confiding in my certain faith of joy to be, strike again, time's withered branch dividing from the fresh root of eternity. Leaves upon time's branch were growing brightly, full of sap and full of silver dew. Birds beneath its shelter gathered nightly. Daily round its flowers the wild bees flew. Sorrow passed and plucked the golden blossom. Guilt stripped off the foliage in its pride. But within its parent's kindly bosom flowed forever life's restoring tide. Little mourned I for the parted gladness, for the vacant nest and silent song. Hope was there, and laughed me out of sadness, whispering, winter will not linger long. And behold, with tenfold increased blessing, spring adorned the beauty-burdened spray, wind and rain and fervent heat caressing, lavish glory on that 2nd May. High it rose, no winged grief could sweep it. Sin was scared to distance with its shine. Love and its own life had power to keep it from all wrong, from every blight but thine. Cruel death, the young leaves droop and languish. Evening's gentle air may still restore. No, the morning sunshine mocks my anguish. Time for me must never blossom more. Strike it down, that other boughs may flourish where that perished sapling used to be. Thus, at least, its mouldering corpse will nourish that from which it sprung, eternity.
Honour's Martyr by Ellis Bell. The moon is full this winter night, the stars are clear though few, and every window glistens bright with leaves of frozen dew. The sweet moon through your lattice gleams and lights your room like day, and there you pass in happy dreams the peaceful hours away. While I, with effort hardly quelling the anguish in my breast, wander about the silent dwelling and cannot think of rest. The old clock in the gloomy hall ticks on from hour to hour, and every time its measured call seems lingering slow and slower. And oh, how slow that keen-eyed star has tracked the chilly grey. What, watching yet, how very far the morning lies away. Without your chamber door I stand. Love, are you slumbering still? My cold heart underneath my hand has almost ceased to thrill. Bleak, bleak, the east wind sob and sighs, and drowns the turret bell, whose sad note undistinguished dies, unheard like my farewell. Tomorrow scorn will blight my name, and hate will trample me, will load me with a coward's shame, a traitor's perjury. False friends will launch their covert sneers, true friends will wish me dead, and I shall cause the bitterest tears that you have ever shed. The dark deeds of my outlawed race will then like virtue shine, and men will pardon their disgrace beside the guilt of mine. For who forgives the accursed crime of dastard treachery? Rebellion in its chosen time may freedom's champion be. Revenge may stain a righteous sword, it may be just to slay, but traitor, traitor, from that word all true breasts shrink away. Oh, I would give my heart to death to keep my honour fair, yet I'll not give my inward faith my honour's name to spare. Not even to keep your priceless love dare I, beloved, deceive. This treason should the future prove, then only then believe. I know the path I ought to go, I follow fearlessly, inquiring not what deeper woe stern duty stalls for me. So foes pursue, and cold allies mistrust me, everyone. Let me be false in others' eyes, if faithful in my own. Stanzas by Ellis Bell. I'll not weep that thou art going to leave me. There's nothing lovely here. Undoubtedly will the dark world grieve me, while thy heart suffers there. I'll not weep because the summer's glory must always end in gloom, and follow out the happiest story, it closes with a tomb. And I am weary of the anguish, increasing winter's bare, weary to watch the spirit languish through years of dead despair. So, if a tear, when thou art dying, should haply fall from me, it is but that my soul is sighing to go and rest with thee.
The Old Stoic. Riches I hold in light esteem, and love I laugh to scorn, and lust of fame was but a dream that vanished with the morn. And if I pray, the only prayer that moves my lips for me is leave the heart that now I bear and give me liberty. Yes, as my swift days near their goal, 'tis all that I implore, in life and death a chainless soul with courage to endure.
Pilot's Wife's Dream by Currer. I've quenched my lamp, I struck it in that start, which every limb convulsed, I heard it fall. The crash blent with my sleep, I saw depart its light, even as I woke on yonder wall. Over against my bed there shone a gleam, strange, faint, and mingling also with my dream. It sunk, and I am wrapped in utter gloom. How far is night advanced, and when will day retinge the dusk and livid air with bloom, and fill this void with warm creative ray? Would I could sleep again till, clear and red, morning shall on the mountain tops be spread. I'd call my women, but to break their sleep, because my own is broken, were unjust. They've wrought all day, and well-earned slumbers steep, their labours in forgetfulness, I trust. Let me my feverish watch with patience bear, thankful that none with me its sufferings share. Yet, oh, for light, one ray would tranquillize my nerves, my pulses, more than effort can. I'll draw my curtain and consult the skies. These trembling stars at dead of night look wan, wild, restless, strange, yet cannot be more drear than this my couch shared by a nameless fear. All black, one great cloud, drawn from east to west, conceals the heavens, but there are lights below. Torches burn in Jerusalem, and cast on yonder stony mount a lurid glow. I see men stationed there, and gleaming spears. A sound, too, from afar invades my ears. Dull, measured strokes of axe and hammering ring. From street to street, not loud, but through the night. Distinctly heard, and some strange spectral thing is now upreared, and, fixed against the light of the pale lamps defined upon that sky, it stands like a column, straight and high. I see it all, I know the dusky sign, a cross on Calvary, which Jews uprear. While Romans watch, and when the dawn shall shine, Pilate, to judge the victim, will appear. Past sentence, yield him up to crucify, and on that cross the spotless Christ must die. Dreams, then, are true, for thus my vision ran. Surely some oracle has been with me. The gods have chosen me to reveal their plan, to warn an unjust judge of destiny. I, slumbering, heard and saw, awake, I know, Christ's coming death and Pilate's life of woe. I do not weep for Pilate, who could prove regret for him whose cold and crushing sway no prayer can soften, no appeal can move, who tramples hearts as others trample clay, yet with a faltering and uncertain tread that might stir up reprisal in the dead. Forced to sit by his side and see his deeds, forced to behold that visage hour by hour, in whose gaunt lines the abhorrent gazer reads a triple lust of gold and blood and power, a soul whom motives fierce yet abject urge Rome's servile slave and Judas' tyrant scourge. How can I love or mourn or pity him, I, who so long my fettered hands have wrung, I, who for grief have wept my eyesight dim, because, while life for me was bright and young, he robbed my youth, he quenched my life's fair ray, he crushed my mind and did my freedom slay. And at this hour, although I be his wife, he has no more of tenderness from me than any other wretch of guilty life. Less, for I know his household privacy, I see him as he is, without a screen, and, by the gods, my soul abhors his mien.
The Wife's Will by Currer. Sit still, a word, a breath may break, as light airs stir a sleeping lake. The glassy calm that soothes my woes, the sweet, the deep, the full repose. Oh, leave me not, forever be, thus more than life itself to me. Yes, close beside me, let me kneel, give me thy hand that I may feel. The friend so true, so tried, so dear, my heart's own chosen, indeed is near. And check me not, this hour divine belongs to me, is fully mine. 'Tis thy own hearth thou sittest beside, after long absence, wandering wide. 'Tis thy own wife reads in thine eyes a promise clear of stormless skies. For faith and true love light the rays which shine responsive to her gaze. Aye, while that single tear may fall, 10,000 might mine eyes recall, which from their lids ran blinding fast, in hours of grief, yet scarcely past. Well mayst thou speak of love to me, for oh, most truly I love thee. Yet smile, for we are happy now. Whence then that sadness on thy brow? What sayest thou? We must once again ere long be severed by the main. I knew not this, I deemed no more, thy step would e'er from Britain's shore. Duty commands, 'tis true, 'tis just, thy slightest word I wholly trust, nor by request, nor faintest sigh, would I, to turn thy purpose, try. But, William, hear my solemn vow, hear and confirm, with thee I go. Distance and suffering, didst thou say, danger by night and toil by day? Oh, idle words and vain are these, hear me, I cross with thee the seas. Such risk as thou must meet and dare, I, thy true wife, will duly share. Passive at home I will not pine, thy toils, thy perils shall be mine. Grant this,
and be hereafter paid by a warm heart's devoted aid. 'Tis granted with that yielding kiss, entered my soul unmingled bliss. Thanks, William, thanks, thy love has joy, pure, undefiled with base alloy. 'Tis not a passion, false and blind, inspires and chains absorbs my mind. Worthy I feel art thou to be loved with my perfect energy. This evening now shall sweetly flow, lit by our clear fire's happy glow, and parting peace and bittering fear is warned our hearts to come not near. For fate admits my soul's decree, in bliss or bale to go with thee.
Frances.
She will not sleep, for fear of dreams, but rising quits her restless bed, and walks where some beclouded beams of moonlight through the hall are shed. Obedient to the goad of grief, her steps now fast, now lingering slow, in varying motion seek relief from the Eumenides of woe. Wringing her hands at intervals, but long as mute as phantom dim, she glides along the dusky walls, under the black oak rafters grim. The close air of the grated tower stifles a heart that scarce can beat, and though so late and lone the hour, forth pass her wandering, faltering feet, and on the pavement spread before the long front of the mansion grey, her steps imprint the night frost hoar, which pale on grass and granite lay. Not long she stayed where misty moon and shimmering stars could on her look, but through the garden archway soon her strange and gloomy path she took. Some firs, coeval with the tower, their straight black boughs stretched o'er her head. Unseen, beneath this sable bower, rustled her dress and rapid tread. There was an alcove in that shade, screening a rustic seat and stand. Weary she sat her down and laid her hot brow on her burning hand. To solitude and to the night some words she now in murmurs said, and trickling through her fingers white some tears of misery she shed.
God help me in my grievous need, God help me in my inward pain, which cannot ask for pity's meed, which has no licence to complain. Which must be borne, yet who can bear, hours long, days long, a constant weight, the yoke of absolute despair, a suffering wholly desolate. Who can for ever crush the heart, restrain its throbbing, curb its life, dissemble truth with ceaseless art, with outward calm mask inward strife?
She waited, as for some reply. The still and cloudy night gave none. Ere long, with deep-drawn, trembling sigh, her heavy plaint again begun.
Unloved I love, unwept I weep, grief I restrain, hope I repress. Vain is this anguish, fixed and deep, vainer desires and dreams of bliss. My love awakes, no love again, my tears collect and fall unfelt. My sorrow touches none with pain, my humble hopes to nothing melt. For me the universe is dumb, stone deaf and blank and wholly blind. Life I must bound, existence sum in the straight limits of one mind. That mind my own, oh narrow cell, dark, imageless, a living tomb. There must I sleep, there wake and dwell content with palsy, pain and gloom.
Again she paused. A moan of pain, a stifled sob alone was heard. Long silence followed. Then again her voice the stagnant midnight stirred.
Must it be so? Is this my fate? Can I nor struggle, nor contend? And am I doomed for years to wait, watching death's lingering axe descend? And when it falls, and when I die, what follows? Vacant nothingness, the blank of lost identity, erasure both in pain and bliss. I've heard of heaven, I would believe, For if this earth indeed be all, with longest lives may deepest grieve, most blessed whom sorrows soonest call. Or, leaving disappointment here, will man find hope on yonder coast, hope which on earth shines never clear, and oft in clouds is wholly lost? Will he hope's source of light behold, fruition's spring where doubts expire, and drink in waves of living gold, contentment full for long desire? Will he find bliss which here he dreamed, rest which weariness on earth, knowledge which, if o'er life it beamed, served but to prove it void of worth? Will he find love without lust's leaven, love fearless, tearless, perfect, pure, to all with equal bounty given, in all unfeigned, unfailing sure? Will he, from penal sufferings free, released from shroud and wormy clod, all calm and glorious, rise and see creation's sire, existence, God? Then, glancing back on time's brief woes, will he behold them, fading, fly, swept from eternity's repose, like sullying cloud from pure blue sky? If so, endure my weary frame, and when thy anguish strikes too deep, and when all troubled burns life's flame, think of the quiet, final sleep. Think of the glorious waking hour, which will not dawn on grief and tears, but on a ransomed spirit's power, certain and free from mortal fears. Seek now thy couch and lie till morn, then from thy chamber calm descend, with mind nor tossed nor anguish torn, but tranquil, fixed to wait the end. And when thy opening eyes shall see mementos on the chamber wall, of one who has forgotten thee, shed not the tear of acrid gall. The tear which, welling from the heart, burns where its drop corrosive falls, and makes each nerve in torture start, at feelings it all too well recalls. When the sweet hope of being loved, through Eden's sunshine on life's way, when every sense and feeling proved expectancy of brightest day. When the hand trembled to receive a thrilling clasp, which seemed so near, and the heart ventured to believe another heart esteemed it dear. When words, half love, all tenderness, were hourly heard as hourly spoken, when the long sunny days of bliss only by moonlight nights were broken, till drop by drop the cup of joy filled full, with pure light was glowing, and faith which watched it sparkling high, still never dreamt the overflowing. It fell not with a sudden crash, it poured not out like open sluice, no, sparkling still and readily flashing, drained drop by drop the generous juice. I saw it sink, and strove to taste it, my eager lips approached the brim, the movement only seemed to waste it, it sank to dregs, all harsh and dim. These I have drank, and they forever have poisoned life and love for me. A draught from Sodom's lake could never more fiery, salt, and bitter be. Oh, love was all a thin illusion, joy but the desert's flying stream, and, glancing back on long delusion, my memory grasps a hollow dream. Yet whence that wondrous change of feeling, I never knew and cannot learn, nor why my lover's eye, congealing, grew cold and clouded, proud and stern. Nor wherefore, friendship's forms forgetting, he careless left, and cool withdrew, nor spoke of grief, nor fond regretting, not even one glance to comfort through. And neither word nor token sending of kindness since the parting day, his course for distant regions bending, when self-contained and calm away. O bitter, blighting, keen sensation, which will not weaken, cannot die, hasten thy work of desolation, and let my tortured spirit fly. Vain as the passing gale, my crying, though lightning struck, I must live on. I know at heart there is no dying of love and ruined hope alone. Still strong and young and warm with vigour, though scathed I shall greenly grow, and many a storm of wildest rigour shall yet break o'er my shivered bough. Rebellious now to blank inertion, my unused strength demands a task. Travel and toil and full exertion are the last only boon I ask. Whence then this vain and barren dreaming of death and dubious life to come? I see a nearer beacon gleaming over dejection's sea of gloom. The very wildness of my sorrow tells me I yet have innate force. My track of life has been too narrow, effort shall trace the broader course. The world is not in yonder tower, earth is not prisoned in that room, mid whose dark panels hour by hour I've sat the slave and prey of gloom. One feeling turned to utter anguish is not my being's only aim. When lorn and loveless, life will languish, but courage can revive the flame. He, when he left me, went a roving to sunny climes beyond the sea, and I, the weight of war removing, am free and fetterless as he. New scenes, new language, skies less clouded, may once more wake the wish to live. Strange foreign towns astir and crowded, new pictures to the mind may give. New forms and faces, passing ever, may hide the one I still retain. Defined and fixed and fading never, stamped deep on vision, heart and brain. And we might meet, time may have changed him, chance may reveal the mystery. To secret influence which estranged him, love may restore him yet to me. False thought, false hope, and scorn be banished. I am not loved, nor loved have been. Recall not then the dreams scarce vanished. Traitors, mislead me not again. To words like yours I bid defiance, to such my mental wreck have made. Of God alone and self-reliance, I ask for solace, hope for aid. Morn comes, and ere meridian glory, o'er these my natal woods shall smile, both lonely wood and mansion hoary, I leave behind, full many a mile.
Life by Currer Bell. Life, belief, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win o'er hope a heavy sway? Yet hope again elastic springs, unconquered though she fell. Still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear, for gloriously, victoriously can courage quell despair.
The letter. What is she writing? Watch her now, how fast her fingers move, how eagerly her youthful brow is bent in thought above. Her long curls, drooping, shade the light, she puts them quick aside, nor knows that band of crystals bright, her hasty touch untied. It slips adown her silken dress, falls glittering at her feet. Unmarked it falls, for she no less pursues her labour sweet.
The very loveliest hour that shines is in that deep blue sky. The golden sun of June declines. It has not caught her eye. The cheerful lawn and unclosed gate, the white road far away. In vain for her light footsteps wait. She comes not forth today. There is an open door of glass close by that lady's chair. From thence to slopes of mossy grass descends a marble stair. Tall plants of bright and spicy bloom around the threshold grow. Their leaves and blossoms shade the room from that sun's deepening glow. Why does she not a moment glance between the clustering flowers, and mark in heaven the radiant dance of evening's rosy hours? Oh, look again! Still fixed her eye, unsmiling, earnest, still, and fast her pen and fingers fly, urged by her eager will.
Her soul is in the absorbing task To whom then doth she write? Nay, watch her still more closely, ask her own eyes' serious light. Where do they turn, as now her pen hangs o'er the unfinished line? Whence fell the tearful gleam that then did in their dark spheres shine? The summer parlour looks so dark, when from that sky you turn, and from the expanse of that green park you scarce may aught discern. Yet o'er the piles of porcelain rare, o'er flowers stands couch and vase, sloped as if leaning on the air, one picture meets the gaze. 'Tis there she turns, you may not see, distinct, what form defines the clouded mass of mystery yon broad gold frame confines. But look again, inured to shade, your eyes now faintly trace a stalwart from a massive head, a firm determined face.
Black Spanish locks, a sunburnt cheek, a brow high, broad and white, where every furrow seems to speak of mind and moral might. Is that her God? I cannot tell. Her eye a moment met the impending picture, then it fell, darkened and dimmed and wet. A moment more, her task is done, and sealed the letter lies. And now towards the setting sun she turns her tearful eyes.
Those tears flow over, wonder not, for by the inscription see, in what a strange and distant spot her heart of hearts must be. 3 seas and many a league of land the letter must pass o'er, ere read by him to whose loved hand 'tis sent from England's shore. Remote colonial wilds detain her husband, loved though stern. She mid that smiling English scene weeps for his wished return.
Presentiment by Currer Bell. Sister, you've sat there all day. Come to the hearth a while. The wind so wildly sweeps away, the clouds so darkly pile. That open book has lain, unread, for hours upon your knee. You've never smiled, nor turned your head. What can you, sister, see? Come hither, Jane. Look down the field, how dense a mist creeps on. The path, the hedge, are both concealed, even the white gate is gone. No landscape through the fog I trace, no hill with pastures green. All featureless is nature's face, all masked in clouds her mien. Scarce is the rustle of a leaf heard in our garden now. The year grows old, its days wax brief, the tresses leave its brow. The rain drives fast before the wind, the sky is blank and grey. O Jane, what sadness fills the mind on such a dreary day. You think too much, my sister dear, you sit too long alone. What though November days be drear, full soon will they be gone. I've swept the hearth and placed your chair, come, Emma, sit by me. Our own fireside is never drear, though late and wintry wane the year, though rough the night may be. The peaceful glow of our fireside imparts no peace to me. My thoughts would rather wander wide than rest, dear Jane, with thee. I'm on a distant journey bound, and if, about my heart, too closely kindred ties were bound, 'twould break when forced to part. Soon will November days be o'er. Well, have you spoken, Jane? My own forebodings tell me more. For me, I know by presage sure, they'll ne'er return again. Ere long, nor sun nor storm to me will bring our joy or gloom. They reach not that eternity, which soon will be my home. 8 months are gone. The summer sun sets in a glorious sky. A quiet field, all green and lone, receives its rosy dye. Jane sits upon a shaded stile. Alone she sits there now, her head rests on her hand the while, and thought o'ercasts her brow. She's thinking of one winter's day, a few short months ago, when Emma's bier was borne away, o'er wastes of frozen snow. She's thinking how that drifted snow dissolved in spring's first gleam, and how her sister's memory now fades even as fades a dream. The snow will whiten earth again, but Emma comes no more. She left, mid winter's sleet and rain, this world for heaven's far shore. On Beulah's hills she wanders now, on Eden's tranquil plain. To her shall Jane hereafter go, she ne'er shall come to Jane.
The Teacher's Monologue by Currer Bell. The room is quiet. Thoughts alone people its mute tranquillity. The yoke put off, the long task done. I am, as it is bliss to be, still and untroubled. Now I see, for the first time, how soft the day, o'er waveless water, stirless tree, silent and sunny, wings its way. Now, as I watch that distant hill, so faint, so blue, so far removed, sweet dreams of home my heart may fill. That home where I am known and loved, it lies beyond. Yon azure brow parts me from all earth holds for me, and morn and eve my yearnings flow thitherward tending changelessly. My happiest hours, all the time I love to keep in memory, lapsed among moors ere life's first prime, decayed to dark anxiety. Sometimes I think a narrow heart makes me thus mourn those far away, and keeps my love so far apart from friends and friendships of today. Sometimes I think 'tis but a dream I treasure up so jealously. All the sweet thoughts I live on seem to vanish into vacancy. And then this strange coarse world around seems all that's palpable and true, and every sight and every sound combines my spirit to subdue to aching grief. So void and lone is life and earth, so worse than vain the hopes that in my own heart sown and cherished by such sun and rain as joy and transient sorrow shed, have ripened to a harvest there. Alas, methinks I hear it said, thy golden sheaves are empty air. All fades away. My very home, I think, will soon be desolate. I hear at times a warning come of bitter partings at its gate. And if I should return and see the hearth-fire quenched, the vacant chair, and hear it whispered mournfully that farewells have been spoken there, what shall I do, and whither turn? Where look for peace? When cease to mourn?
'Tis not the air I wished to play, the strain I wished to sing. My wilful spirit slipped away and struck another string. I neither wanted smile nor tear, bright joy nor bitter woe, but just a song that sweet and clear, though haply sad, might flow. A quiet song to solace me when sleep refused to come, a strain to chase despondency when sorrowful for home. In vain I try, I cannot sing. All feels so cold and dead. No wild distress, no gushing spring of tears in anguish shed, but all the impatient gloom of one who waits a distant day, when, some great task of suffering done, repose shall toil repay. For youth departs, and pleasure flies, and life consumes away, and youth's rejoicing ardour dies beneath this drear delay, and patience, weary with her yoke, is yielding to despair, and health's elastic spring is broke beneath the strain of care. Life will be gone ere I have lived. Where now is life's first prime? I've worked and studied, longed and grieved through all that rosy time. To toil, to think, to long, to grieve, is such my future fate? The morn was dreary, must the eve be also desolate? Well, such a life at least makes death a welcome wished-for friend, then aid me, reason, patience, faith, to suffer to the end.
Passion by Currer Bell. Some have won a wild delight by daring wilder sorrow. Could I gain thy love tonight, I'd hazard death tomorrow. Could the battle struggle earn one kind glance from thine eye, how this withering heart would burn the heady fight to try. Welcome nights of broken sleep and days of carnage cold. Could I deem that thou wouldst weep to hear my perils told? Tell me, if with wandering bands I roam full far away, wilt thou to those distant lands in spirit ever stray? Wild, long a trumpet sounds afar. Bid me go, where Sikh and Briton meet in war, on Indian Sutlej's flow. Blood has dyed the Sutlej's waves with scarlet stain, I know. Indus's borders yawn with graves. Yet command me go. Though rank and high the holocaust of nations steams to heaven, glad I'd join the death-doomed host, were but the mandate given. Passion's strength should nerve my arm, its ardour stir my life, till human force to that dread charm should yield and sink in wild alarm, like trees to tempest strife. If, hot from war, I seek thy love, darest thou turn aside? Darest thou then my fire reprove by scorn and maddening pride? No, my will shall yet control thy will so high and free, and love shall tame that haughty soul, yes, tenderest love for me. I'll read my triumph in thine eyes, behold and prove the change. Then leave perchance my noble prize, once more in arms to range. I'd die when all the foam is up, the bright wine sparkling high, nor wait till in the exhausted cup life's dull dregs only lie. Then love thus crowned with sweet reward, hope blessed with fullness large, I'd mount the saddle, draw the sword, and perish in the charge.
Preference by Currer Bell. Not in scorn do I reprove thee, not in pride thy vows I waive, but, believe, I could not love thee, wert thou prince and I a slave. These, then, are thine oaths of passion? This thy tenderness for me? Judged, even, by thine own confession. Thou art steeped in perfidy. Having vanquished, thou wouldst leave me. Thus I read thee long ago. Therefore dared I not deceive thee, even with friendship's gentle show. Therefore with impassive coldness have I ever met thy gaze, though full oft with daring boldness. Though thine eyes to mine didst raise, why that smile thou now art deeming? This my coldness all untrue, but a mask of frozen seeming, hiding secret fires from view. Touch my hand, thou self-deceiver. Nay, be calm, for I am so. Does it burn? Does my lip quiver? Has mine eye a troubled glow? Canst thou call a moment's colour to my forehead, to my cheek? Canst thou tinge their tranquil pallor with one flattering feverish streak? Am I marble? What? No woman could so calm before thee stand?
Nothing living, sentient, human, could so coldly take thy hand? Yes, a sister might, a mother, my good will is sisterly. Dream not then, I strive to smother fires that inly burn for thee. Rave not, rage not, wrath is fruitless. Fury cannot change my mind. I would deem the feeling rootless, which so wells in passion's wind. Can I love? Oh, deeply, truly, warmly, fondly, but not thee. And my love is answered duly, with an equal energy. Wouldst thou see thy rival? Hasten, draw that curtain soft aside. Look where yon thick branches chasten noon with shades of eventide. In that glade, where foliage blending forms a green arch overhead, sits thy rival thoughtful bending over a stand with papers spread. Motionless, his fingers plying that untired, unresting pen. Time and tide unnoticed flying, there he sits, the first of men. Man of conscience, man of reason, stern, perchance, but ever just. Foe to falsehood, wrong and treason, honour's shield and virtue's trust. Worker, thinker, firm defender of heaven's truth, man's liberty, soul of iron, proof to slander, rock where found his tyranny. Fame he seeks not, but full surely will she seek him. In his home, this I know and wait securely for the intoning hour to come. To that man my faith is given. Therefore, soldier, cease to sue. While God reigns in earth and heaven, I to him will still be true.
Parting by Currer Bell. There's no use in weeping, though we are condemned to part. There's such a thing as keeping a remembrance in one's heart. There's such a thing as dwelling on the thought ourselves have nursed, and with scorn and courage telling the world to do its worst. We'll not let its follies grieve us, we'll just take them as they come, and then every day will leave us a merry laugh for home. When we've left each friend and brother, when we're parted wide and far, we will think of one another as even better than we are. Every glorious sight above us, every pleasant sight beneath, will connect with those that love us, whom we truly love till death. In the evening, when we're sitting by the fire perchance alone, then shall heart with warm heart meeting give responsive tone for tone. We can burst the bonds which chain us, which cold human hands have wrought, and where none shall dare restrain us, we can meet again in thought. So there's no use in weeping. Bear a cheerful spirit still. Never doubt that fate is keeping future good for present ill. The Missionary by Currer Bell. Plough, vessel, plough the British main, seek the free ocean's wider plain. Leave English scenes and English skies, unbind, dissever English ties. Bear me to climes remote and strange, where altered life, fast following change, hot action, never ceasing toil, shall stir, turn, dig the spirit's soil. Fresh roots shall plant, fresh seed shall sow, till a new garden there shall grow. Cleared of the weeds that fill it now, mere human love, mere selfish yearning, which cherished would arrest me yet. I grasp the plough, there's no returning, let me then struggle to forget. But England's shores are yet in view, and England's skies of tender blue are arched above her guardian sea. I cannot yet remembrance flee, I must again then firmly face that task of anguish to retrace. Wedded to home, I home forsake, fearful of change, I changes make, Too fond of ease, I plunge in toil. Lover of calm, I seek turmoil. Nature and hostile destiny stir in my heart a conflict wild, and long and fierce the war will be, ere duty both has reconciled. What other tie yet holds me fast to the divorced, abandoned past? Smouldering, on my heart's altar lies the fire of some great sacrifice, not yet half quenched. The sacred steel but lately struck my carnal will, my lifelong hope, first joy and last, what I loved well and clung to fast, what I wished wildly to retain, what I renounced with soul-felt pain. What, when I saw it, axe struck, perish, left me no joy on earth to cherish. A man bereft, yet sternly now I do confirm that Jephthah vow. Shall I retract, or fear, or flee? Did Christ, when rose the fatal tree before him on Mount Calvary? 'Twas a long fight, hard fought but won, and what I did was justly done.
Thank you to everyone who helped to make this audiobook, especially our readers, Dan, Libby, Bobby, Jess, Lexi, Motiba, Hannah, Richard, Edwin, Amina, Oz, Lucy, Linda and Jane. And thank you to the staff in media services at Leeds Trinity for all their help in the recording studio. This has been a Leeds Trinity audiobook made by students and staff at Leeds Trinity University.